Guylaine?
Thank you for that, Herschel. I would say to everybody that wants to hear me, and I've said this multiple times, what NABA has done, what we've accomplished is a we. It is no small part because I know I would really want to tell the story about how our relationship as CEO and chair of the board is a absolute example of how a CEO and a board should operate. Right? I'll start with that. And the reason that is because from the start, from the very start, what Herschel has shown to me is that I could come to him, speak my mind. First of all, we established that both of us, and oh, you know this about me, it's a no jerk zone. We can debate, we can disagree, but we're not going to be rude and disrespectful and attack people's personality. Like that's off the table. And so within, I think it was within literally 3 weeks or 4 weeks of me being on the job, you know, we had a little bit of a board meeting that went, shall we say, off kilter. And the next day I got on the phone with Herschel and we had a real conversation. And I think this was a pivotal moment around really testing our ability to speak honestly. And I think sometimes people think Herschel and I are always like in this honeypot relationship where we're always, they're wrong. I mean, Herschel and I have really tough conversation. Sometimes we disagree and disagree vehemently. And it's the reality of how we operate. And it's the reality of how we talk. And I would say to people that deep trust, that deep respect, that ability to respect each other's perspective and to have clarity on, we don't lead by consensus at NABA, we lead by alignment. This ability to say, when do I tell him my view? And then I back off that it's his decision. And the reverse is also true. When does he come to me and give me his perspective? And then he trusts that this is my decision, right? The separation of governance and execution.
Right.
I think that this is, Herschel and I do this incredibly well. To know that we can talk about everything, but then if it is governance and strategy, I have to align to him.
Mm-hmm.
If it is about execution, he aligns with me. And this is what the public sees. You will never know where we disagreed because I got his back and he's got my back. And to everybody else, nobody would think, oh, these two did not disagree. This is not true. So I say to whomever, I am really chagrined. I'm really chagrined. Herschel has one more term he could do as board chair. And trust me, I can be quite a persuader. And I went after him with everything I had to try to get him, to say that he would stay for another term. And unfortunately, he says no, and I understand, right? I mean, it's time for new leadership, et cetera, to continue to evolve the organization. But it's going to be really, really hard. I mean, I'm going to miss him, miss working with him tremendously, because I think for me, it's the real conversation around iron sharpening iron and the ways that we can, through this relationship, this purposeful, as you call it, and if I can use one of the values of NABA, this intentional leadership that we've always put our own little I aside and say what ultimately is the right thing for this mission we have the privilege to serve. I just think that's what I would want people to hear out of this. Herschel,